Rio sets the tempo, and SailGP turns up the pace. For the first time, the world's fastest racing league arrives on Guanabara Bay.
Perfect by Outeridge. Canfield is the master on the start.
High-speed action and high tension.
That is so ridiculous.
In one of the world's most electric cities, Martini Grail and her Mubadala Brazil SailGP team want to put on a show for their home crowd. World-class racing, pure Rio rhythm.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, raw passion, all action. When it takes, racing on water, racing with impact. Give it all, everything. Give it all, everything. We are racing. When it takes, we are SailGP.
Located on the west coast of Brazil, Rio de Janeiro is a port city that is a major trade hub for all of South America. Today, Rio's Guanabara Bay is the focal point as the world's best sailors have come to these legendary waters to test themselves against the sports elite in the 6th season of SailGP. In the shadow of Sugarloaf Mountain today, 12 nations will take to these waters to decide who is the best team. With tricky conditions and no room for error, these crews will navigate a course that rewards precise maneuvers and punishes sloppy tactics. With a sporting fan base that brings passion regardless of the event, the Rio locals have turned out in force to not only see the world's elite, but to cheer on their national squad on home waters. Plus, the league introduces its newest hospitality hotspot, the Vela Beach Club. At the end of today, one team will reign supreme at this scenic venue with an iconic backdrop. Alongside Olympian Stevie Morrison and former Emirates GBR athlete Hannah Diamond, I'm Todd Harris. Welcome to the ENEL Rio Sail Grand Prix. Following this inaugural stop in Brazil, it's off to a classic sailing venue with Bermuda's Great Sound next month for Event 5. Then 2 stops in North America, first the Big Apple in New York City, and then further north in Halifax, Canada. Season 6 then turns its attention to the European leg with events in Portsmouth, UK, Sassis, Germany, Valencia, Spain, and finally Geneva, Switzerland. Season 6 will conclude in November at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Sail Grand Prix 2026 Season Grand Final. The defending champions from Season 5, Emirates GBR, are on top with 28 points after 3 events. The Bonds Flying Roos are in second, with the U.S. SailGP team riding the momentum from their win in Sydney. They claim 3rd place with DS Team France. Season 4 champions and newly purchased Los Gallos Spain round out the top 5. New squad Artemis are in 6th overall. And it's go time for Red Bull Italy, Rockwell Racing, and Germany Deutsche Bank. It has been a start to forget for North Star Canada, Mubadala Brazil, the Black Falls of New Zealand, and the Swiss. Before we go racing today, let's recap the action from Saturday's Day 1 in Rio. For the first time, SailGP came to Brazil. But the breeze in Rio was hard to find. Unless, of course, you're the wind whisperer.
Absolutely on fire. Really picked his way through the flip.
Nathan Outeridge and the Artemis crew started the regatta on form. No such luck for the hosts, however, as a technical issue kept Martini Grail's team out of the first 2 races. It was a familiar story in Guanabara Bay. Get out in front, and it's yours to lose.
Good news for the Spanish fans. That hulls up should mean they can build speed. Look at the top of the mast.
Beautiful shift out on the left for Artemis up that last speed.
The United States SailGP team carried on their form from Sydney.
Canfield is the master on the start in these light winds.
With no result worse than 5th, Canfield and crew sit impressively in 2nd overall. Red Bull Italy had their moment in the limelight, leading from start to finish in race 3. In race 4, Germany Deutsche Bank chased down the Bonds Flying Roos.
Yeah, we can go around this guy.
And with the help of a penalty on the Aussies,
How didn't we keep clear?
And this is going to make, he's opening the door for the Germans. You've got to go around the outside, Eric.
I see finish.
But he swings it round the outside. They're still foiling. This is going to go the way of the Germans, Todd.
Eric Heil claimed the final race.
Nice job, boys.
For my money, that's still a pretty solid result.
Yeah, we had a good day today. I mean, we battled through. We had some bad starts and still managed to chip away some good results. So we're really happy. A few things go our way, and I think we might be able to win some races.
4 races and 4 different winners on day 1. Despite not winning a race, the Bonds Flying Roos find themselves in 1st place with 28 points. And it's the U.S. SailGP team Artemis, the top 3 teams after first of 2 races on. Then it's Germany Deutsche Bank and Los Gallos Spain ran out the top 5. Red Bull Italy and Rockwell Racing are 6th and 7th respectively, and still in the conversation for the event final.
Well, after those 4 races yesterday, we've got 3 more races out here in the bay for the whole fleet. Of course, it's 10 points if you win the race, just 1 point if you're at the back of the pack, potentially none if you really get it wrong. We're going to accumulate points. Every point is crucial if you want to make the top 3 boats in the event standings for that winner-takes-all final.
With the wind coming both over and around Sugarloaf Mountain, the racecourse here in Rio de Janeiro may be spectacular, but will also be challenging. The breeze is up a little compared to yesterday, so being clean through manoeuvres, staying up and foiling will be the ENEL power play of the day. That'll be easier said than done with big pressure differences across the course and congestion in the middle of the fleet. I'd expect it to be difficult to overtake, so getting ahead early will open up the options to find some space and sail fast. Those who can keep cool in the Rio heat and keep passing boats will give themselves the best chance to make the final.
So 12 teams are ready to go racing on Super Sunday at the ENEL Rio Sail Grand Prix, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship. Right now we go down on the water, check in with the 4th member of our broadcast team. Here's Olympic silver medalist Lisa Darmanin.
Great news down here on Guanabara Bay. We have fantastic wind for today's racing, around 16 kilometers per hour, but gusting up to 32. It's so gusty out here and incredibly tough with some added swell rolling in the bay. Configuration-wise, we've got the light air T-foils, we have the high-speed rudders at the back of the boat, and we've got the 27.5 meter wing in the air and the large jib at the front, so super powered up. With today's configuration, we've also only got 5 people on board, so the grinders have a huge day ahead of them. It is going to be a tough but awesome day of racing out here in Rio.
All right, thank you, Lisa. 1:15 away from the first race of the day as we welcome in the 5th member of our broadcast team, Peter Burling, the Olympic gold medalist and 3-time America's Cup champion.
And Lisa mentioned the configuration today, Pete. And what does that mean for the conditions that we've got? What does it mean for the sailors on board and the conditions we've got today?
Yeah, there's been a whole heap of chat about the configuration today. Last minute change to change those high-speed rudder wings, so that'll make the boats a little more unstable in pitch, but I think the right call looking at the conditions, and also that 27 metre wing up today as well. It's definitely on the upper end of it, but should be right in the windows. So, those light air at the top mark looks super light up towards the top mark, so it'll be all about getting around there foiling and getting away from there in good shape.
So with 30 seconds to go, a little drama right out of the gate. Stevie Morrison, they are all in the box, ready to go, and this is the calm before the chaos.
Yeah, and I mean, chaos is going to be induced. Look at Sugarloaf Mountain in the background there, Todd. That's where the wind's got to come round. Really chaotic. Right-hand side of the screen. Artemis, they're lining up a bit of a hot shot, coming in fast at the back. Can they find a gap through the fleet? The Bond's Flying Rouge, they're up and foiling at the top end of the line. Rolex pole predicts on the Spanish, looking for that line to turn white. It's all about being on the foils and fast when this gun goes. Oh, the Aussies are coming through so hot through the middle there. Slingsby.
This is the umpires. Early start penalty, Brazil.
Oh, they were early, but look at the Bond's Flying Rouge, Todd. They're out the back, thread of the needle. Artemis are coming charging through in the background too. So hard to judge the wind here, but one thing's for sure, if you're fast, you're free.
Careful on the windward heel. Copy this.
Yeah, one thing you'll find with that 5-0 configuration, most of the teams are taking their G1, their main grinder off the boat, so in these unstable conditions, the G2 will be having to work super hard.
So as they approach mark number 1 in race number 5 here on Super Sunday, it is the Bond's Flying Rouge. They are in first place overall after 4 events yesterday, and they are starting off on a great one.
Getting soft here, Sammy, go hard.
Left turn at Mark 1 there, and I think from what we've been seeing in the pre-start, that coming away from Mark 1 and pushing all the way to boundary, that's what you've been seeing as the favoured way in here, haven't you, Han?
Yeah, that's right, and I think a lot of the teams are going to be looking to see if they can do one manoeuvre and get into that left turn at the bottom, but huge pressure difference on the course. If you can get ahead into this breeze, you can be up and foiling, but the boats at the back really struggling for speed there.
Pete, you've got an Olympic gold medal here in these conditions. This looks pretty hard to predict out there.
It does look reasonably tricky, doesn't it? But those 2 boats up front have done really well, kind of got away in good breeze. So, I think it's going to be all about just connecting the dots. You can see those darker patches on the water really meaning there's a lot more breeze, and those kind of glacier patches meaning it's super light. So plenty to play for.
The first of 3 fleet races today, and then the field will be cut to only the top 3 boats. They will race off in the event final, and right now it is the Bond's Flying Rouge out in front, finding the clean air. There you see Artemis sitting in 2nd place, and Red Bull Italy sitting in 3rd with the Swiss Stevie, a top 4 position right now.
Yeah, an interesting move by Artemis here. They didn't want to follow the Bond's flying ruse. Red Bull Italy have done a nice job in here. What a great camera angle that is, not just because it looks beautiful, but we can have a little look at the breeze. It's pretty unstable across the course, but right now up in the Oracle Cloud, we're seeing a bit more wind on Artemis. More wind should mean more speed. Potential to gain here for Artemis. Anytime they can get separated, we can expect to learn a lot about the course.
And everyone opting for that left-hand side, gate number 2, the DP World Gate, other than Artemis, and there's Los Gallos also, Pete, opting for the other side of the course.
Yeah, that left-hand turn's actually pretty favoured at the moment, so the boat's taking the right, like Los Gallos in Spain, taking a pretty decent loss to start off with, but then, yeah, hopefully trying to get some more pressure out of that decision. So, yeah, it looks like the Aussies are in really good shape at the moment.
I think as well what Pete's saying when he says it's biased, it's basically the course won't be totally symmetrical. So actually, by doing that left turn, they're sailing less distance. You know, and of course, if you can make your racetrack shorter, that's going to really save you some time.
Yeah, so I think the key to this next part of the course, you know, looking at the data, that those top marks are so close to the Sugarloaf, so it's going to be super light and patchy up there. So it'll be really about making sure you come in fast, kind of well over the ley line and get in and out clean.
Speed should not be a problem today. If you were with us yesterday, quite a bit less breeze, but not the story today as we go down on the water. Lisa Darman, what are you seeing? Is it still the left side that's favorable?
Yeah, definitely. The wind is sort of coming around Sugarloaf on the left-hand side, and interestingly, I think what Australia did there is it took the advantage of the gate bias, but it also means that they can have this really nice approach to the gate with just one less manoeuvre than Artemis needs to do. So, it'll be interesting to see if they try to do another manoeuvre to get back out to the breeze on the left-hand side of Sugarloaf Mountain.
Yeah, you can see Artemis, middle of our screen, they manoeuvred. What I'm seeing here, Pete, is actually they're not doing very good foiling tacks here, which I think is down to the fact they've got these small rudders on the back of the boat, and it's not able to glide through the manoeuvres as well.
Yeah, it definitely makes it a little bit harder, but it shouldn't be that bad. We have to see what Italy does here. Yeah, I think if you get enough entry speed, you should be just fine. That last tack looks super strange on Artemis, so we have to go back and take a look at what happened there. But I mean, the Aussies have got a huge lefty going up the top here, but still deciding to take that left turn, so there must be a lot more pressure on this side.
This is leg 3 of 7. It is the Australian team out in front, the Bond's flying ruse, and they have found where those holes, Stevie, we were talking about before we came on the air. Tons of breeze across the course, and then you sail into a pocket of nothing. And now Red Bull Italy, who are still on the foil, come flying in, and they make a pass.
Yeah, and Italy here have potentially got right of way, but you probably want to avoid contact if you can. Australia have got to make sure there's space for Red Bull Italy in there. Australia around the outside. Phil Robertson, well, he's nothing if not aggressive.
He's going to send it.
This is the umpires. Penalty Denmark, relative Spain.
Okay, that happened further on down the course. So Denmark have got to drop behind Spain, which shouldn't take too long to achieve. They're expected to come and look at this dark patch of water at the top. Basically a parking lot at the top. I think if you can just stay for all the teams are desperate to turn left. I think unless you can see a big patch of wind on the right turn, then you're just trying to sail into wind, accelerate the boat away. Here we go, look. They're going to be off.
You can see that slight difference in configuration. I think Italy's one of the few boats that's actually running a person in the G1 position. So, you know, big difference across the fleet as to how they've decided to use that 5-up configuration.
I think especially on a day like today, the Italians obviously opting to put their strategies forward, which means that they're not as able to see the course as well, so they've got to be super prioritising sailing the boat rather than looking around finding the best pressure.
So a lead change, Steve. We've got Red Bull Italy in front, but for how long? As the Bond's flying ruse pulling right behind him, they will now maneuver away, and it's Artemis in 3rd place. So it's Italy, Australia, and Sweden, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I think a little bit like yesterday. We're seeing here the foiling percentages, and Italy's been really good, but they've just fallen off the foil. I think the sea state is quite unstable. So it's a bit like being on a bumpy road out there, and it's easy to make a little mistake, get a little high or a little low before a manoeuvre and come off the foil. So lead change back.
I got power.
Ian Jensen's then put a little in the bank. What he means by that is even if you think you can make the mark easily, give us a bit more space, so we're definitely going to make it. A bit what Pete was saying at the top.
Yep.
Be wide on the course, so there's a lot of margin, because when it's as changeable as this, it's hard to judge.
Yeah, it looks like they're getting in just fine for that left turn again. With all these 3 boats, so it'll be interesting to see if anyone splits off. It looked like Artemis was sending a couple of lewards, so they'll probably take the right turn and be the repeat of the first bit.
So once again, it's off to the left-hand side of that DP World Gate with the Bond's flying ruse leading the way. And again, as Pete predicted, Artemis and Nathan Outridge, they will split the course and they will head to the other side. It'll be interesting to see what Los Gallos does. Diego Bottini looks like he's going to follow the Italians on the left.
I think what's interesting, if we look at our scoreboard on the left-hand side, I mean, you know, form recently, GBR, Emirates GBR have been unplayable.
Struggling.
We see them in the middle top of our screen. They're just sat wallowing in the water under Sugarloaf along with the German team. Unbelievable. They're sitting in 12th at the moment in the standings. It's all about the top of the standings, though, in that race to the final. USA and Italy. Well, here we go. The USA have done a nice job working their way back through the fleet. They sit 2 points into that final at the moment. But, wow, it's going to be tight. It's so changeable out here on the racetrack.
Still 2 more fleet races to go after this one. And then, as Stevie pointed out, the top 3 will battle it off in the event final here in the shadows of Sugarloaf. This is leg 5 of 7 of race number 5 with 2 more still to go. And it is still the Bonds Flying Ruse. They got the whole shot. They gave the lead one time to Red Bull Italy, but quickly got it back. And Hannah, this is a team, the Bonds Flying Ruse, they have so much experience, but they missed out on the final at their home event in Sydney.
Yeah, I mean, on their day, they are such a strong team, but I think it's one of those venues where you've got to stay calm, and we know that frustration can creep in, especially on a day like today. So even though they're ahead, they're going to have to keep working super hard to sail the boat nice enough to stay ahead of the fleet here.
Yeah, it's one of the few days where you can actually see the puffs and lulls on the camera angle, isn't it? It's not often as a sailor you talk about the puffs and lulls and what you're actually looking for, but you can visually see it on the screen. So pretty cool, this high shot.
Committee, the top marks are moving. Can you please get them to stop?
Tom Stingsby just saying the gates having a little bit of move.
Right, after this.
We've got leg 5 of 7, so they've got to go down and then across towards that finish line.
It's like a nympho out of the Adina, Chicago out of this mark.
Chicago. Sounds like a few dance moves going on there or something, Pete.
The Aussies love a few code words, don't they, just to try and make things a bit complicated.
I think that the way they use that is just if you've got to do multiple manoeuvres in one thing, that you can cut it down to one word. You'd call it your playbook, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. You kind of, instead of having to say 3 or 4 words to describe a situation, you say one, and then you're everyone knows what's going on. But yeah, hopefully they can get the boat up and foiling again. Obviously, looks like good pressure on the screen.
This time they've got the better position, Pete, and they were able to hold the Italians off. Where last time the Italians got to the inside of them, so they defend that gate really well.
Yeah, we heard Tom say, "Do we own the mark here?" So that kind of means did they get into the zone before they tacked, so that. Yeah, they own the inside, which they definitely did that time.
Yeah, and look at them go, Todd. You see them going away in that dark patch of water. The early manoeuvre, Italy are foiling, so it's a race to the foils between Los Gaios and Artemis right now. USA have done well again here.
Yep.
Oh, Italy are in there. They've had a bit of a wobble. Big gust of wind. Chance for Artemis. Manoeuvre coming quickly for Italy.
2, 1 angle.
Nice recovery there.
So Phil Robertson able to get the Italians back up on the foils again, but meanwhile it is almost all over. No one is going to catch the Bonds Flying Ruse in race number 5. And I don't care what Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman say, they got a pretty good skipper on board.
Yeah. He's obviously had his crumpets for breakfast. I'd say today on the water.
It looks seriously tricky out there, doesn't it? But they've done a nice job, haven't they?
Yes, they have indeed. So race number 5 comes to a conclusion, and your Emirates winning moment. It's the Bonds Flying Ruse winning the first race on Super Sunday.
Good action for the fans. I mean, they're just finishing right in front of the fans there, right under Sugarloaf. And Red Bull Italy, Todd, are going to get another second. They're chasing hard for a final here.
Airport's gone.
Yeah, I think Artemis, strong result from them after a tough couple in the second half of yesterday, and then the Americans, nice comeback there to get up to.
Also, Los Gaios got a position on the Americans, so they move up. The Spaniards move into 4th place, and the Americans looks like they'll have to settle for 5th.
Yeah, yesterday the Americans were just absolutely incredible off the start.
Yeah.
They averaged 3rd place at Mark 1. They were 3rd, 5th, 2nd at Mark 1. Unbelievable consistency, but to be consistent today, I think, is just so hard. You know, you could be starting in 25 kilometres an hour of wind, or you could be starting in about 6. There you go. Action-packed finish.
So US SailGP and Taylor Canfield come across the line, a top 5 finish. Remember, it's all about accumulating points. The Swiss, who were top 3 earlier, they finished in 6th.
I think the Spanish.
Here come. Good result here for the Swiss coming across in 6th. Rottwell Denmark, they were sort of, a bit of a wobble there by Rottwell Denmark. A lot of water
they're going to lose
over the
it.
boat. A lot of water over the boat. They stopped. It's a big re-accelerate needed here. Can they fend off the fast charging French? Contant de la Pierre, he's lined up well for that finish line.
Nope.
Big wave there.
Clearance 3.
Oh, Rockwool, Denmark, that's going to be so costly. It's tight, I think they'll just hold off Mubanda, Brazil. North Star Germany, Deutsche Bank and Emirates, GBR. I mean, they've been in a final, every final since the middle of the summer last year. Like, this just seemed inevitable they'll make the final, but no chance now. There is no chance Emirates GBR are making the final 3 boats here in Rio.
Yeah, it's surprising after that tough day yesterday. You really thought they would have come out swinging in this first race, but they got themselves pretty tied up at the start and made their life super hard for sure. But I'll have to see what they've got in the next couple.
So North Star Canada will get the last point available in 10th place, with the Germans and Brits still out on the course trying to wrap up this first race, race number 5.
Pretty interesting, wasn't it, Todd? Another great camera angle, as you can see, and just the breeze out there is so windy when it's windy. It's really all action. Looks like a leaf blower coming on board the Bond's Flying Rouge there.
Still a few people on the beach getting the sun on and taking in the full Brazilian lifestyle. But yeah, what a
terrible way, not a terrible place to be in Guanabara Bay as we take a look at the results and we update the standings. So 5 races down, 2 more to go. The Bond's Flying Rouge add to their lead, now on 38 points, 4 points clear of Artemis, and the US SailGP team 2 points clear of Red Bull Italy for that 3rd and final spot in the event final. But remember, 2 more races still to go.
Pressure differences as they were, it was always going to be really important to get off the line, and the Bond's Flying Rouge and Artemis coming from the back of the fleet but really winding up the speed. The Bond's Flying Rouge had to go through a really small gap there, but it just about opened up in time to allow them to come through and take the lead. They then stayed in the pressure while the back of the fleet was sort of struggling to accelerate and get on the foil. There was a split at the bottom gate, which opened up the race, but it was all about how you sailed the boat through the pressure, wasn't it, Stevie?
Yeah, and I think what we learned as well is if you did do the right turn at the bottom, you had to do more manoeuvres. And this top of the course, well, it's a parking lot. You've got to get your in and out of the top here. That's the opportunity to sort of make a gain or make a big loss. Red Bull Italy did dive in, but the Bond's Flying Rouge, just accuracy of manoeuvres, Hannah.
Yeah, and with this pressure changing so much, the angle and the speed can change really quickly. So you've got to get the basics right, but you've also got to stay calm on board and make sure you're nailing the basics to make sure you're getting the best result possible.
And in the end, the Emirates winning moment goes the way of the Bond's Flying Rouge. They take their first victory here in Brazil. Remember, in 4 races yesterday, they did not win, but they were the most consistent. And the Emirates fly time goes to Red Bull Italy as they are over 90% getting it done. What a job by Phil Roberts and his crew as they finish in 2nd place overall. Remember, they won race number 3 yesterday, so they've got a pretty strong report card as of right now. So we go down on the water, and the Bond's Flying Rouge are the winners of race number 5. They taste victory for the first time here at the ENEL Rio Sail Grand Prix. We check in with their driver, Tom Slingsby. Tom, what a difference 24-hour makes. What are you finding out on the course? And, of course, the start is always the key.
Yeah, it's a very tough racetrack. Sorry, we've got a bit of comms going on, but yeah, really tough racetrack. But yeah, we're probably in the wrong configuration today. We've got the big wing on, and the boat's quite hard to keep control. And then with the top marks right under the mountain Sugarloaf here, it's making really challenging, as I'm sure you can see. But everyone's just battling away.
Tom, we appreciate the time. We'll let you get back to work with 2 more races still to go. The Bond's Flying Rouge are in the lead. Well, the party continues here in Rio on Guanabara Bay. Near perfect conditions. The breeze is up and the sun is out. We've got 2 more fleet races plus an event final. You are watching the ENEL Rio Sail Grand Prix, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship.
This is the Drive and Change Clinic, which is part of our program under the Impact League's Better Sport focus area. Its goal is to make foiling more accessible to girls who are already sailors, already athletes.
We are here today with a wing foil clinic for very few girls. We select very few so we can teach them a little bit more one-on-one.
This clinic is all about giving them a first contact with the sport. Most of the girls have never sailed before, never tried flying on a foil. But the idea is that from here, they can maybe move on to a next stage, where they can really dive deeper into the knowledge, techniques, and performance side of foiling. It's always really valuable for us to be in touch with them. They're very experienced people with a lot of knowledge to share. They genuinely enjoy passing it on to others, to the next generation. So I think it was a really productive experience. For any young athlete, having your idols so close breaks down barriers and shortens the path to bigger dreams. Martini is almost like a possibility that didn't exist before. That closeness and representation really expands horizons. It opens up new possibilities.
I always think about legacy a little bit and the impact that we can have in other people, but I think for me especially it's very cool to see the girls, because I know how hard it is to start something, and being a girl in the sports is normally like very male dominated. Any sports are mostly male dominated, especially at their age. There are a couple of quite young kids, and I think it's good to build confidence, you know, it's very important.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
A spectacular day here in Rio. Day number 2 of the ENEL Rio Sail Grand Prix. We were scheduled to come here last year, but because of situations out of our control, had to postpone it for a year, but we are back, and now Guanabara Bay takes center stage here. Season 6, event number 4, as we are now 90 seconds away from the start of the next race. It is race number 6 as we take a look at the leaderboard right now. Remember, you need to be in the top 3, and Stevie, this is shaping up to be a great dash to the finish.
Yeah, I mean, to me it looks like there's 5 boats battling for those 3 places at the moment. Little jump for the Bonds Flying Rouge, but we've seen that top of the course under Sugarloop, so gate 3 and gate 5, absolute potential nightmare.
So there are the Australians, the Swedes, the Americans in the top 3 position. Then you have the Italians, the Spanish. Germany maybe on the outside looking in. Denmark, it's going to be a tough bit of sledding for them, as we are now 1 minute away, Hannah, and now everyone moving into the box. I got to understand what is going on with Emirates GBR, because they are not having their best regatta.
I mean, it is a super tricky venue, but I think you can have a weekend where you just don't get in sync in the conditions. So that could be it, but I'm sure they'll be looking to make their mark in this race.
All right, here we go. 37 seconds away from the start of race 6, the penultimate fleet race. 1 more to go, then the field will be cut to just the top 3.
We've got 2 distinct strategies here, haven't we? We've got Red Bull Italy, Rockwool USA. They've kind of put their towel on the deck chair, as it was, at the front row here. Right-hand side of screen, Bonds Flying Rouge are trying to try and fire in fast and hot again. Rolex Pole Predictor 6 on North Star. It's going to be struggle here for Bonds Flying Rouge to find a gap, I'd say, at the top. Artemis are coming in fast, but they've got a lot of heel going on. Tight at the bottom end of the line. Acceleration's going to be tricky for Red Bull Italy. Who's got the time in here?
And it's clean at the line.
Oh, it was clean. Sorry for any language people may have heard there. USA again first off the line, but they're not fast. Emirates GBR, wow, there you go. That's a bit more like the Emirates GBR we're used to, but can they still? No, they're off the foils. Oh, it's gone so light under Sugarloaf. It's a reset, it's a rebuild, it's a restart for the fleet here. They've got to get on the foils quickly.
I think you're called
the
yesterday,
umpires.
Stevie, with the
penalty
light air and
GBR.
the US getting off the line well. It was a
Window boat not keeping clear, go
they
behind
set up
Italy.
in that front row and got off really well. GBR took the unconventional route and coming through from the back, and I think they've actually picked up a penalty.
Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell assessing the penalty
Penalty
to
Australia.
Emirates GBR, plus a
behind
penalty
Switzerland.
going to the Bonds Flying Rouge. So double penalty as they come to mark number 1. Big difference. Beautiful shot, Stevie, with Sugarloaf Mountain in the background, but they are slow.
Yeah, I mean, the Aussies are going to have to lose back. We heard there Dylan Fletcher, it's going to be painful. They got to drop back through. Real frustration on board the Bonds Flying Rouge right now. They've got to drop back behind Switzerland, so that penalty should come off quite quick. Look, right-hand side of screen, look at the heel on the Spanish boat. We can just see these gusts. They're dropping in almost from the sky, so hard for the crews to predict. Switzerland, here we go, nearly up and foiling. Australia trying to get behind them. Slingsby's having to swerve it around, but at Mark 1, it's going to be Los Gallos, followed by the USA top.
All I heard was vamos, and the Spanish are gone. Los Gallos, newly purchased this week, and they get the Rolex Sprint Leader Award as they get the whole shot at mark number 1. Now, can they pull away? They've got Rockwell, Denmark in second. U.S. SailGP team with another great start, sit in third on 60 kilometers an hour. Then you have the Bonds Flying Roos and the Swiss, your top 5.
Pete, sometimes I feel a bit harsh. I think the teams look pretty scrappy out here with the manoeuvring. Is that because they've got the too big a wing for the condition, or it's just that the wind's that changeable?
I think it's just so puffy and not having the full 6 up on board. Like most of the teams, you're either missing a strategist or a G1 with the 2 different configurations everyone's sailing. So it's really making your life that little bit harder to be steady. You can kind of see even the Spanish here leaving the flight controllers leeward for a significant amount of time. Pretty unusual. But yeah, the Aussies, great first run here again. I think they're in on the lay line for a couple of gains.
Getting some good reporting down on the water from Lisa Darman, and Pete, you can translate this for the fans at home. The apparent wind is changing, keeps, that's Lisa's word, not mine, as well as they go in and out of the gust, making it hard to control.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, the boats are driven off apparent wind, so normally you're going super fast, and the wind's always coming from in front, where if you're stationary and you're getting these big gusts, apparent's going a long way aft and making them super flighty and unstable.
Perfect. So the gate 2, the DP World Gate, it is still Spain on top. Australia has moved into second place beside that early penalty, Stevie, and the U.S. SailGP team still top 3 with Artemis in 4th.
Yeah, Slingsby worked so hard to clear the penalty and then executed just a perfect manoeuvre after Mark 1. Look, they're straight up on the foils again here. I think we need to think about this race to the final. Spain, USA, Australia. Here we go. Perfect.
Here we go.
Someone's listening to me, Todd. And then we go. Spain have got themselves up in the final. Sweden and USA. Wow, it's so tight for Artemis. Italy have got to do a lot of overtaking if you want to keep their hopes alive. But that's the race we want to watch. Can Sweden start to make some games? Left-hand side of the screen, USA, they're up on the foils, but there looks like a little bit less wind where they are right now.
Yeah, I think the interesting part here is if it's the same as the last race, that top left was super strong and that left turn at the top. So I think you'll be seeing those boats that are on starboard tack right now able to get hard into that left-hand side, taking some pretty big gains at the top.
This is leg 3 of 7 in the penultimate fleet race. We've got one more still to go with Spain out in front. Los Gallos trying to be the first team to win 2 races in this regatta. Remember, they won race 2 on day number 1. It was Artemis, Spain, Red Bull, Italy, and Germany, the 4 winners on day 1, with Australia winning the first race today.
Pretty wide open course, as Pete said. Everyone's up towards the top of our screen, top right-hand corner. That blue line, that's the lay line for the left turn that Pete's talking about. So I don't know as many. Nathan's nearly gone a little bit wide there, but you can see the whole fleet up there. It's so rare to see the fleet compressing onto one lay line like that, Hannah.
Yeah, and I think from the last race we saw that there was some quite big shifts in the direction to the left, and I think that's where the wind is just wrapping around that left-hand side of Sugarloaf Mountain, really sort of favouring this left turn, but also creating a load of congestion on that side.
I was going to say before, you saw the Danish being super aggressive to take a short tack right up to that lay line, and that's really paid dividends for them here coming in 3rd.
So the Bonds Flying Roos have closed the gap on Spain. It is Rockwell, Denmark that has moved into 3rd, but it's still Los Gallos out in front. The Swiss make a quick move in there as we check in down in the water. Lisa Darman, and how are the conditions, and have they changed much since the last race?
Oh, the conditions haven't changed much. It's diabolical out here. The difference between where the mark is and then 50 meters away is huge, and it's just making it so hard. And right now, everyone trying to do this left turn, just so much congestion. A lot of rules getting thrown around as well, I'm sure.
It's really tight. We can see here, bottom right left-hand corner of our screen, USA are about to take a right turn on here. That stayed on the foil. Artemis, wow, it looked pretty hectic moving away there, but this is going to be a big moment here for the US. They've stayed on the foils. Canfield said a little more wind, but if they get this right, they could be right back in it. If they get this wrong, this could be event over.
Well, right now, they have dropped back to 5th place with Artemis moving up, and that's how it is right now. They would be out of the final by 2 points, but there's still one more race to go. So there's the head-to-head matchup. If you're cheering for either Artemis or the USA, keep an eye on that boat position. Meanwhile, at the top of your screen, look at the Spanish and the Australians just flying down the course at nearly 65 kilometers an hour.
Doesn't look bad for the USA right now, Pete, does it? It looks like they've kind of got far enough away for Sugarloaf, and as you get towards the bottom of the course, if anything, it's a little bit more safe.
Yeah, I think once you clear just a little bit down from the top, then it really starts to settle down. And you know, look at that heli shot before. You really see that big vein of pressure in the centre kind of left. So yeah, you definitely expect the boats taking the right turn to the bottom to take a pretty solid gain.
So split course situation. The Spanish off for the left, the Australians off for the right.
Here is not a bad thing. Okay, nice. We've got lefty on the bow. And got any more ride height there, Milk?
Go, interesting. So Ian Jensen said we've got lefty on the bow. So what he's saying is I think the wind's going to come from a little bit more towards the left-hand side of our screen. Expect the Australian boat to turn left a little bit here, and then that means they can turn the boat and progress straight up the course on a favoured shorter distance effectively. So here we go. Expect a manoeuvre pretty soon as Tash Bryant heads across the boat.
Let's stand by there.
See that sea stick just rolling in again through that gap into the bay, making it a little bit more tricky to sail the boat.
Spanish when you cross, Tom.
Up it, yeah. And go.
That's a pretty nice manoeuvre. Right of way with Spain. Middle right of our screen is Spain. Left-hand side there, Australia. They show us first, but they're going to probably have to dip behind the Spanish here. It's going to be a punchy call across. I imagine they'll go behind.
You heard Tash Bryant calling out the Spanish.
Oh wow, aggressive from Spain, Todd.
Right on top of them.
Spain have got to be careful. If Australia can get alongside, they'll be able to push the Spanish up into the wind. Right of way with Australia.
Happy to take it up if you want. Yeah, rolling up.
Aggressive here. Expect Slingerby to be aggressive. Here he goes. He's going to rotate it right up. If Spain can keep clear. Oh, that's surely going to be a protest there. Oh, they pushed the Spanish off the foils. Absolute fair play from Tom Slingsby. It was always going to be aggressive in that situation.
This is the umpires. Penalty Spain, windward boat not keeping clear, go behind Australia.
Little salt in the wound from the Emirates Umpire Studios with Craig Mitchell. It's like they got past it then. Off the foils, and of course the penalty issued.
Yeah, and what could be a bigger, longer-term issue here is they're slow and they're not quite in that circle. So Rockwell would have the right of way here. Spain have got to be careful. They're manoeuvring. Got to be sure they're ahead of Rockwell here, or they're going to have to let the Danish inside. Denmark has the right of way.
I'd see the Swedes going super high just to try and touch that zone to own the inside as well. So, you know, plenty to play for here at the top.
USA still showing as fifth right now. We can see them in behind our scores there at the moment. And Artemis absolutely off the foils, parking lot at the top again as the Bond's flying ruse. Turn away in first. Just need one good manoeuvre and then they'll be winning another race.
Well, they didn't win a race on day number 1, but they are looking to go back-to-back here on day number 2. 2 races and 2 wins, and it will be the Australians certainly punching their ticket into the final.
Yeah, look at the USA. Oh, 2 holes in, could lose a few places.
Back here.
You can be just boat lengths away from another boat in such different breeze in these conditions. It feels so hectic on board, but you just got to keep a cool head.
Oh, it looked like they were going to opt for that right-hand side again, Pete, and the Americans are just stuck in no man's land.
Yeah, well, I think as soon as you get slow around that right-hand turn, it's just so risky that you'll never get going. And you know, I saw in the first race in the review that the Germans and the British got stuck up there for a long, long time. So I'm sure everyone will be pretty scared of that corner after that.
So the USA dropped back to 7th place. That takes them out of the top 3 for the time being, with Australia and Spain having their own battle out there. But once again, in race number 6, like it was in race 5, the win goes the way of the Bonds Flying Ruse, make it 2 for 2 for the Australians on Super Sunday.
Todd, I've got some dramatic news. I've just had Craig Mitchell on the contact to me. Potentially, the Australians have got a little damage from contact with Switzerland. Australia were not in the right of way. That could mean, after an inspection from the tech team, if there is damage to Australia or Switzerland, there could be penalty points coming to Australia.
So it will be Spain that comes into 2nd, Rockwell, Denmark in 3rd, Artemis will be 4th, and we'll wait to hear how these point situation sorts out as the short crews will come on board. Quentin Delapierre and DS Team France will finish in 5th for the time being. Now remember, these are provisional results. We'll have to wait to see if they are official.
Well, we'll see. The big one there, as I look on the left-hand side, USA, they were 5th for most of that race. They just ran out of wind, ran out of luck, maybe, and they've dropped all the way back to 8th, and we've seen how tight these points are. So this last race, well, it's going to be all on.
North Star Canada comes in with one of their better finishes of this regatta as they finish in 6th place.
Yeah, I think the big change since that first race was just how close Italy was to that top 3, and then a really tough race in this race, dropping them right off the back. So I think at that race for the final is kind of down to 4 now.
As we Butler, Brazil, the home team comes across the line. They will finish in 7th place with US SailGP dropping back to 8th. And to Stevie's point, they gave up 3 positions on the last 2 legs. The Germans will finish in 9th and GBR in 10th. So the Swiss come across in 11th place. Remember, if you're out of the top 10, you get no points. Red Bull Italy will finish in 12th, and that'll about do them in with any chance of making the top 3. And that takes us to the 7th and final fleet race. And now the numbers can start to be crunched. And Hannah, to Pete and Stevie's point, it really becomes 4 races battling for 3 spots.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the USA and Spain are taking up kind of those 3rd and 4th spots at the moment, but Denmark aren't that far behind.
Okay.
So with the number of points on offer in this next race, there is still a little bit to play for, and especially with the racing being as full on as we've seen, there is still some opportunity here.
So 10 points to the winner of each race, 1 point if you finish in 10th, none for 11th and 12th, and that's where Red Bull Italy unfortunately find themselves after having a great run in the first race, finishing in 2nd place on race number 5, the first race of today. They won race 3 yesterday, so little up and down form for them, Stevie, and not the best time for them to finish dead last.
No, not at all. I just think that these kind of conditions, are there really any young teams in SailGP anymore? I don't know, but Australia is, they are the gnarled experts. They're so accurate, and, they're just able to put it together in these kind of conditions, Todd.
And we go down to the water once again, deja vu all over again. We talked to the Bonds Flying Roos and their driver, Tom Slingsby. Tash Bryant also joining. Tom, what was the key of that race, and how did you guys pull it off?
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy race once again. It was a pretty crazy race once again. We, had a bit of an issue at the start, and then, it's just about sort of staying alive in this stuff, keeping the boat on its feet. But yeah, the team is sailing really well.
Tash, you seem to be sort of finding your way around the course, finding pretty good breeze out there. Is it obvious, or is it the fact that you guys are so well drilled that your manoeuvring means you can put yourself wherever you want to?
I think we feel like we're sailing the boat pretty well, so that makes my job quite a bit easier. But there's plenty of traffic around, so that makes it tricky with boats on other lakes to us, trying to figure out where everyone's going. But it's been good so far, so hopefully we can keep it up.
Tash, appreciate the time. That's driver Tom Slingsby and strategist Tash Bryant for the winning team in race number 6. The Bonds Flying Roos get the victory. They make it 2 for 2 on Super Sunday, a perfect time to find their form. What a beautiful setting here on day number 2 of the ENEL Rio Sail Grand Prix as we update the standings, and there it is, 48, 41, and 40. Those are your top 3 teams. The US SailGP team, Hannah, they're going to have to pull something out of the hat on this last race as they are right now 4 points out of the top 3.
Yeah, they are, but there's still an opportunity there with any of this kind of tricky racing. Really, anything can happen.
Well, still to play for are those 3 positions and probably 5 boats ready to go. What a view here in Rio as we take a look at the Emirates fly time. And once again, a master class by the Bonds Flying Roos and Tom Slingsby. Tash Bryant, who we just spoke with, 87% for them. Had a penalty at the start they had to absolve before they even got to mark number 1. And somehow, Slingsby once again gets the victory. He goes 2 for 2 on Super Sunday to put themselves firmly into first place. Well, for many of the athletes in SailGP, these waters are extra special. As a decade ago, during the Olympic Games in Rio, SailGP's finest claimed medals of gold, silver, and bronze in the shadows of Sugarloaf Mountain.
One of the more beautiful places I think I've ever sailed. When you look back at the shore and you see the iconic landmarks, yeah, it's amazing.
Rio I hold pretty fond, to be honest. It was my first Olympic Games. Quite a successful trip for me. Won a gold here 9.5 years ago now, which is crazy to say, I think. So yeah, awesome to be here.
10 years ago, here in Rio. It's a good way to make me feel old, isn't it? We were really happy to get a silver medal at the Olympics and back up our gold medal from the previous Olympics there.
We come off a gold medal in the London Olympics, and we came away with a silver here, which was great. The New Zealand guys, Pete and Blair, had a really good cycle and were favourites going into the games.
Brazil just brings this atmosphere and this vibe that's really hard to compare to other places in the world that I've been. And the racing here was amazing, natural buzz and energy that is uncomparable really to anywhere else in the world.
Rio Olympics, I had so much time in these waters, but it is a very tricky piece of water, especially where the SailGP is going to race. It's right under Sugarloaf and it's very, very tricky winds, even for me. So I think it's going to be one of those kind of places where who's a big observer will take a big step forwards in the fleet.
It was the most amazing feeling winning the gold medal here. The Olympics is almost like your, I don't know, it's your apprenticeship, it's your raw skills, it's your sailing talent. You're racing all the time against the best people in the world and you're learning everything you need to know. And then, you know, hopefully the best of the best can jump into SailGP. And I think for me as a female as well, seeing the women's pathway and the progression and how that's transforming young girls. When they come and talk to me, you know, they talk about the Olympics, but they also talk about wanting a career in SailGP. What's happening in the next 10 years for Hannah Mills? So, hopefully I'll be lucky enough to still be sailing in some capacity. Hopefully we'll have won a few more SailGP leagues, so that'd be pretty special, and some other very exciting projects potentially on the way.
Peter Burling was part of that Olympic montage as he claimed the gold medal there in Rio. As we get ready for the 7th and final fleet race to go down, and it's going to come down to between the Spanish and the U.S. to see who will get into that top 3, with Australia and Sweden already secured in there. It's a 4-point differential between Spain and the USA, and just a few moments ago, our Lisa Darmanin catching up with Diego Botín.
Diego, all systems go out here. It's really tricky. How hard is it just to get around this racetrack?
Yeah, it's super hard, super puffy, and with these big wings it's super hard to manage the loads. Now the breeze has dropped a bit. On the warm-up it was a bit crazy. But yeah, we're trying to stay in the shift and make good starts and see if we can make it into the final.
It's all systems go out here, as we can see, but you guys are well in the hunt. I think the battle between 3rd and 4th just need a good one.
Yeah, we're going to focus on doing another good race and see how it goes.
All right, we'll let you get into it. Thanks, Diego.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate the time from Diego Botín and the Spanish. So now we're under 90 seconds to go, and it comes down to this. It will either be the U.S. or the Spanish that will join Artemis and the Bonds Flying Roos. Pete, in this situation, is this just a full send moment? You got nothing to lose?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a full send moment. I mean, even the Aussies and the Swiss are still within range of those two boats. Really, that kind of top 4 is kind of having to go sail a good race. You've got to keep it clean, keep the boats apart, and I mean, this race course is super tricky, so anything can happen.
All right, Hannah Diamond's going to be crunching the numbers throughout this one. Hannah, does it basically come down to the U.S. has to finish 1 spot ahead of Spain or vice versa?
Well, no, it's a little bit more open than that, but this is definitely a very tricky race course to control any other boat. So if you're behind, you've just got to try and do your best to win the race and see how the cards fall behind you.
All right, the 7th and final fleet race of the ENEL Rio Sail Grand Prix is about to get underway as they begin the dance with 35 seconds to go in the shadows of Sugarloaf Mountain.
Yeah, middle of the pack there, we can see here come the Bonds Flying Roos. He's trying to take a little bit less risk out of it this time, trying to find a way through the whole fleet last time. Well, he's still potentially got a protest pending on him, whether or not he did have contact with the Swiss team. 19 seconds to go. Artemis, right-hand side of our screen. They're coming in late, should be fast at the gun. Right in the middle of the pack again, the starting master Canfield, but is he going to be able to accelerate from there? Switzerland, they look good. Artemis look good, and it's all about hitting the line right. Hey, lining up there, Seb Snyder's coming through the middle. How's your timing? Oh, Artemis Racing are going to be down the road here. What a position for them to be in. Bonds Flying Roos, they're clean at the top, and the Swiss, they've got a chance to lead at mile 1.
This is the umpires. Penalty France, windward boat not keeping clear. Black flag, you are disqualified.
Oh my goodness! The umpires have given a black flag, diving in at the top there. Too risky. Oh, Contant de la Pierre, what an end to their regatta here in Rio.
In the boat ahead.
So with the black flag, the French, DST France will have to pull off the course. What was 12 now becomes 11. And what a terrible way for their regatta to end as they will peel away. The Rolex sprint leader, however, at mark number 1, will go the way of the Swiss.
Oh, this race to the final is all on. For the Bonds Flying Rouge and for Artemis fans, well, they look pretty well positioned, the Swiss. Well, they could do with a good one here. Need a nice manoeuvre out of one. But look, middle of the screen, USA are foiling in the pack. Out the back, Los Gallos have got a lot of work to do if they want to find their way to the final. Look at it right now. They're 1 point out. USA hold that magical spot in the final.
So if it stays like this, it will be the Americans joining Artemis and the Bonds Flying Rouge in the top 3, but Spain still has plenty of time to catch up. Hannah Diamond will crunch those numbers, keep us abreast of what's going on right now out on the course. So it's Artemis, Switzerland, and Australia, 1, 2, and 3.
Coming pressures from the top.
And it's changing all the time with that, coming out of that manoeuvre with some of the boats struggling a little bit out of that jibe. USA are in a bit of a tough position there. They've sort of not got as many options as some of the boats to windward of them, but the Spanish are nice and safe behind them for now.
Yeah, USA need to still get a good result here, though. Remember, they've got to get 4 or 5 boats between themselves and the Spanish, so it's all very well Spain being back. USA can't afford to lose too many places. They show us 5th, probably going to be forced into a right turn at the bottom here. Bonds Flying Rouge have got to watch out for the USA.
Yeah, they definitely went pretty far on that lay line, but now owning the inside on the right, like same as before, this mark's pretty unfavoured, but I think they're going out to good breeze, and that'll net out into a pretty good position.
So at gate 2, the DP World Gate, it is still Artemis out in front. The Bonds Flying Rouge slotted in 2nd place. Swiss sit in 3rd, Germany, Deutsche Bank in 4th, and the Americans, all importantly, sitting in 5th place, but they are 6 spots clear of Spain. Hannah, that's probably the combination they're going to need, a top finish, top 5, and some gaps between them and Los Gallos.
Oh, penalty on the USA as well here. They didn't keep clear of the Swiss. Should be a fairly easy penalty here to get rid of. There you go, it's gone already. They just had to let the North Star team get round the outside of them and pass, so not too difficult a penalty at all there. USA still very much in the mix here. Artemis in 2nd, never made a final.
And it'll be up in the puck, turning up.
They are a new team, so we'll see what pulls off. They've been very close. Last few events, they finished 4th in Perth. They, of course, 4th again in Auckland, New Zealand.
Where are Los Gallos as well? They must be off the right-hand side of the screen, but have they got themselves space? USA manoeuvre does need to be a good manoeuvre. Looks like they clear Red Bull Italy, and they're sailing to a very dark patch of water. Good move by the USA. There's Los Gallos, bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Here they come. Game on, race on for the final here in Rio.
US in 6th, Los Gallos in 11th place. We'll crunch the numbers. Meanwhile, it is the Bonds Flying Rouge trying to sweep the first 3 races of Sunday, the most important one coming up next, but they would put themselves into the final peak with a lot of momentum.
Yeah, they've definitely been having a good day today, haven't they? But, you know, one thing's for sure, that doesn't mean anything going to the final, and it'll just be whoever can put their best foot forward. But, I mean, this race at the moment between Spain and USA for that final spot's super, super tight, so it'll be whoever gets ahead now.
As we take you on board Mubadala, Brazil, Martini Grail, the home team, not having the regatta they wanted, but they're putting on a great show here as they will, after this race, turn their attention to the next event in Bermuda as we give you the Tim Brazil 5G POV onboard cam.
That, we're right in the cockpit there, Tom. It's unbelievable. You can see left-hand side wing trimmer Jeremy Wilbot was just trimming on the wing there, using all the buttons to keep control there. He dipped behind Rockwool Denmark. They had to keep clear. Well, it's this gate we've seen is absolutely pivotal here in the race. Top of the screen, USA, they've gone to the danger zone up there.
Yes,
bottom right-hand corner of the screen, Los Gallos, they're going to be ahead here. Los Gallos are going to overtake the USA. Risk on, right of way. Well, when they enter that zone, USA is going to be giving space to a lot of boats. If they can stay foiling, USA have still got a chance. But he's got to give room to nearly all these boats coming in as Rockwool Denmark plug it into the water there.
Let's go.
But nowhere for Spain to go.
No, Spain are going to go around the outside here. Remember, they don't have to beat the USA, though, Todd. They've just got to be close. Oh, Botin is rolling the dice.
Oh, big manoeuvre.
He's going right turn, so parking lot on the left turn. If Spain stay on the foils, they'll have done it, I'd have said here. Big, big call, but he's made some big calling in his time, and they're normally right.
Yeah, it looked like a nice breeze where it's heading to, and, you know, when you're going that fast, you can actually transition a long way through a lull. So, you know, just keep going straight, keep it on the foils, and keep out of that traffic jam on the other side. I think it's a smart move.
So the USA was in 5th and Spain was in 11th, and now as we update that, the USA sit in 7th with Spain in 8th. And Stevie, they may be moving up the ladder. They are indeed now currently sitting in 5th overall.
I'm happy to...
Yeah, there's a lot of boats to the left-hand side of our screen off of the foils. Bond's Flying Ruse, I mean, they are seriously slick out there today. I think somebody wants to be looking at what they're doing on board, because they're just relentlessly accurate with how they're sailing the boat. Germany, Deutsche Bank, they've done a nice job. Right-hand corner of the screen there, Spain, Los Gallos in 4th. If they stay foiling, and the numbers say they do, that's going to be them in very good shape. They'll be ahead of the US when we get down to this gate. Well, and if they do that, it's not much race left for the USA to find and overtake.
Pete, is this just a situation of Tom Slingsby's more comfortable in these conditions? Is it the boat configuration? Did they all go out and get 5 good luck cats? How do you explain how well Australia's doing today?
I reckon he's definitely got those cats stuck away somewhere. I mean, we've been talking about it for the last 2 days, haven't we? But he's just been on fire this weekend. And, I think, to be honest, getting off the start line well and sailing the boat clean. He's been doing the basics well. He's got off the start line well and executed well from there.
Yeah, as you look at Spain now moving up there in the top 3, 6 points clear of the USA, does it come down to that one leg where the USA just got so slow and then opted to go into the traffic jam with everyone else?
I think it's about having the presence of mind. When you see the fleet congesting, if you can separate, split, and take the favoured gate as well, then it puts you in such a good position. So they just managed to avoid the groups of boats are slow, but also find a favoured mark as well.
Do you know what I think, though, as well? I think the USA were a little bit impatient after gate 2. We've seen at this left-hand side of our screen, we've seen all day there's more wind. Sometimes you've just got to follow the boat ahead, make the course wide. That's all Spain did. Spain didn't do anything magic. They had a hard decision to make, but for me, USA had made a bad call by forcing things early on the leg. Sometimes you've got to be patient and wait for the other boats to make the mistake.
It's amazing how sometimes if you have such a bad start, you end up well off the back. You kind of can get a good lane from actually behind other boats. So, they got a really good bottom arc rounding and managed to get a long way up into the left, which really gave them that extra leverage.
Big press out for a foiler.
Well, if the Australians can hold on and win this race, and they are on their way with just 2 legs to go, they would finish on 58 points. That's the most fleet points a team has accumulated since Sydney's season 5 at 63. If Australia finished top 3 this race, 6 top 3 finishes for the Bonds Flying Ruse in this event. What a Sunday, though, for them, Stevie. 3 for 3.
Straight into a jar.
Yeah, I mean, they've sailed brilliantly, Todd. We left Rio yesterday with Tom Slingsby, to say the least, a little fired up by Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell and his team's decision that he felt a little hard done by. But, big moment on board Artemis here. Big gust of wind, got a little loose, good save. Draper's had to completely unload the wing sheet there, I'd say. The wing went all the way out to save it, but somehow they managed to keep themselves foiling.
Someone's having to do a lot of grinding to get it back up, aren't they? Yeah, really nice work.
But yeah, I feel like the Bonds Flying Ruse, I think maybe it's fired him up. That's how it can go with Tom. I really, when he's on fire, he's not unplayable, but he's very, very good. Look at the breeze here. That right-hand side under Sugarloaf looks good, but the Bonds Flying Ruse, they've just got to take it to the finish here.
They're above at the moment, they're slow.
As they come to the line, they will have to negotiate around Emirates GBR, who are not in the mix right now, and it's a drag race to the finish line. How about this? It will be the Bonds Flying Ruse that cross the line in traffic with Emirates GBR, and the Germans will finish in second.
They're turning down
Slightly confusing there. Emirates GBR is still trying to race on the upwind leg.
Yep.
What a woeful weekend they've had. Huge here for Artemis, though. This is going to be their first ever final. I mean, Nathan Outridge has been in a couple of finals in his time. So's Chris Draper, so's Andy Maloney. I mean, there's so much experience on that boat. But for Julia Gross, this will be the first final on there. Brad Farron, Julius at the front. However they've got that configuration, this is a big moment for Artemis.
And a huge moment for Los Gallos, Spain. Remember, they were purchased earlier this week, so congratulations to them. But they were in 11th place on leg number 2, and they will finish this race in 4th, and that should be enough to get them into the final.
So other than Perth, Hannah, I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying Los Gallos have made the final every time.
Well, I think we've seen how consistent they can be. When they're good, they're really, really good. So I think they're definitely contenders for this final race.
And it will be the Swiss coming in 5th place, so a good showing for Seb Schneider and his crew as they wrap up their week here in Brazil, with Rockwell, Denmark finishing in 6th.
Yeah, I feel Rockwell have had a sort of, a quiet weekend, but it's been a solid weekend. think a nice sort of stepping stone weekend for them. So happy with how they've gone. You know, they obviously want to be making finals, of course, but tough conditions here. Yeah, exactly. I think they've had a fighting weekend. I think they fought really well, and the overalls, they're going to be right in the mix. USA, really good. Well, a really good weekend for USA as well. They're showing themselves to be. You know, we're disappointed that they're not in a final. Imagine 12 months ago.
Yep.
You know.
So disappointment for Taylor Canfield and company as they will not return to the final. Remember, they won the event in Sydney just a few weeks ago, but they will miss out here in Brazil.
Okay, exiting this one high as well.
And Martini Grail will bring the Mabudla Brazil team home for the final time. They will finish in 8th place. Their Sunday, probably not what they were hoping for. They finished with an 8th, a 7th, and a 9th. Red Bull Italy showed some serious promise after day number 1 when they won race number 3, but they will finish their regatta in 9th place here on the 7th race.
I think just to relate back to something quickly, Todd, we talked about potentially getting penalty points for Australia. The tech team is still trying to see if there was damage. They're still going to be in the final. They got so many points. Craig Mitchell, even if he gives every penalty point he can, they're still in. So for any Bons Flying Rouge fans, it's going to be Australia, Sweden and Spain in this final here in Rio, and it's going to be some race because there's an awful lot of talent on that race course. If you haven't got an Olympic gold medal, you're not in the race.
So let's take a look at the standings as we have 11 boats across the line. Remember, France receiving the black flag before mark number 1, and it is the Bons Flying Rouge on a massive score of 58 points. That's 9 points clear of 2nd place in Artemis. Congratulations to Nathan Outers as he gets his team into the final. And Los Gallos and Diego Botín, the champions of Season 4, they will be in the final as well. Taylor Canfield and his crew had a great run, but they miss out by 7 points as they finish in 7th place on race 7, and that was their undoing. And we take it down on the water with Diego Botín and Los Gallos. Diego, what a race. Were you guys obviously aware of what you needed to finish in lieu of the Americans?
I don't need it to.
Yeah, we were aware. But it's really tough to control boats in a day like today. It's super shifty. And yeah, Johan made a great call on going right on that because the left gate was with a lot of traffic and there was a good path and we made the pass.
Diego, it looks really, really tricky out there, but are you seeing anything the Australian team are doing? Because they're kind of making it look like they've got a big, big understanding.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of, I think they're pushing it in the starts and yeah, sailing the boat well and the shifts, a bit of everything.
Diego, appreciate the time. We wish you the best of luck as you guys are now in the final yet again. So Los Gallos, they are into the top 3 along with the Bons Flying Rouge and Artemis, and what a race it was, Hannah Diamond.
Yeah, and we look back to the start, and there was a huge moment for DS Team France who took a really risky approach to that start. Germany just gave them a little love there, and there wasn't quite enough space for the French to get in there, so black flagged at the start, and they had to make their way off the course and sit out the rest of this race. But it was all about the boats who were trying to reach the final at this point. The Swiss got away, but 2 of those boats who were in contention, Sweden and Artemis and Bons Flying Rouge, did a really good job to put themselves at the front of the fleets. And from then on, the race was between the US and the Spanish, and some congestion at the top of the gate mark there just opened the door for the Spanish to make quite a big decision to split away from the fleet. And ultimately, that is what put them into the grand final for this next event.
Yeah, huge result there really for the Spanish team. Sailed very well. Tricky for the US team, very tricky, but there'll be lessons learned.
Well, the big winners on the day, the fans, as they pull off an amazing job here with one more race to go. By all accounts, the ENEL Rio Sail Grand Prix has been a huge success.
My name is Martine Sofia Tigrael. I come from Brazil, from the town of Niterói in Rio de Janeiro. And my earliest memories with the water is my mom taking us sailing on her Europe dinghy. It was quite fun, yeah.
But for Martini, it was never just about the water. It was about the competition.
My dad asked me if I liked to do sailing, maybe travel, with your friends and stuff, or if I liked racing, and that's when it kicked in, like, I really like racing and competing.
That competitive fire carried her all the way to one of the biggest stages in the sport.
It was the most, iconic day of my life, winning the gold medal in Rio and having, all my friends, family, it was just amazing.
Now this double Olympic gold medal champion is taking on a new challenge, leading her country and racing the world's fastest sailboats in the Rolex SailGP Championship circuit.
Everything is a step further. The boats are faster, there's more media, everything is more intense.
Now in year 2, those around her say she's more than ready for it.
Martine has the natural ability to be one of those skippers with that intuition. It's just about the time and to understand all the different little situations.
For someone who spent years known only by her family name, SailGP has become something more, a chance to step out on her own.
I was always Tobin's daughter, Andrea's daughter, or Marco's sister when we started competing quite a bit, and then I was, for the first time, Martine.
And if anyone doubts what comes next, that's exactly what drives her.
I love when people don't think I can make it, and then I try really hard to make it, So, yeah, I just love being challenged, and there's nothing that motivates me that I bet you can't do that,
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, we are SailGP.
And we have reached the final race. It is the event final at the ENEL Rio Sail Grand Prix here in Guanabara Bay, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship. Alongside Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, Lisa Darmanin, and Peter Burling, I'm Todd Harris. What a day here in Brazil, under 4 minutes away, and then the race is on. It will be the Bons Flying Roos, Los Gallos of Spain, and Artemis that will battle it out for top honors. So there's the view of the course from the top of Sugarloaf Mountain. It'll be very tricky again as the boats get themselves into position. Just moments ago, Lisa Darmanin catching up with Tash Bryant on board the Bons Flying Roos.
Tash, awesome job so far today, but as you know, you've got to win the final. What's going to be the key here?
Yeah, I mean, getting off the start's pretty nice because you have some space and get to go wherever you like around the course. But yeah, I think we'll just have to see how it goes. It'll be nice to have some space finally. It's been pretty clustered and been holding my breath a bit around the racetrack. But yeah, we're looking forward to getting into it.
All right, we'll let you go. Good luck.
Thanks, Lisa.
All right, thank you very much, Lisa. As we get ready for the big race, it once again will be Australia, Spain, and Artemis that'll battle it out in these tricky conditions to see who will walk away with the top prize. Gonna go ahead and put them on the spot because we can. Peter Burling, who do you like in this one and why?
I reckon Spain. I've got my money on them. They're definitely the underdog, I think, going into it, but I think they love their position and that race they put together to make it through to the final in the last one, super solid.
Hannah, you got a favorite?
Before the event, I said Spain, but I think Bons Flying Roos have been pretty consistent over the weekend, so they're going to have a pretty strong chance.
Okay, and Stevie.
Come on, Todd, you can't make it that easy. I'm intrigued by how much momentum is. I'm intrigued that Pete wouldn't go for Australia when you've got that much momentum, you've got that much form. Do you not think that's important, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, it's important, but we've seen so many finals where Tommy's had an absolute blinding, first series and then not been able to step the best foot forward into the last one. So for me, the form really gets thrown out the window at this point, and it's really the boat that puts their best foot forward. And even the way you go about the start completely changes.
All right, we got a slight delay on the course, but we'll be racing soon. I'll tell you one thing, if there's one thing AI could never replace, it's the SailGP experience. Unrivaled sailing, iconic locations, and first-class hospitality. But nevertheless, here's what happened when the league asked AI to have a crack at interpreting SailGP. So there you have it, the AI version or interpretation of SailGP. I was waiting for them to give the interpretation of Stevie Morrison.
That would really take some mathematics, Todd.
So under 3 minutes away, and here are the teams. Pete, what's going through their minds? What are they talking about? What are they doing?
I think we're like 25
you're really just
seconds
trying
away with
to
the pressure
change
we
your
got.
mindset from that 13 or 12 boats this weekend on the start line down to 3 boats. So you just got that much more space. Generally, you see them going out later on their run out on port before the pre-start. That final tack, you want not a lot to kill, and then you'll be seeing them hit the line at a lot more speed. So it's really about who gets that first pop off the line will be in good shape and get the whole shot at Mach 1.
I think it's really crucial as well in the start that you do now know exactly where the favoured point on the line is. You should, any of these sailors on here have got that ability, as we see here, and we look at the stats. Well, they've been in 52 finals, they've won 16. I mean, that's a lot of experience there, and the Spanish as well. But it would be a first win if Artemis can get it. So let's see how they can go on. It's a massive moment for them.
So you have the team that won the first 3 seasons of SailGP and the Australians. You have the winners of season 4 in Los Cayos, and the newest team on the block, Artemis, out there with a name that's not so new to the sport in Nathan Outteridge, an Olympic gold medalist. So here we go, under 2 minutes away. Hannah Diamond, as you look at this course and you look at the conditions, where do you want to be in that start box?
Well, I think they're going to have to make quite a late call because you can see just how patchy the breeze is. And often I think a lot of the teams use the other teams in their run-up to gauge where they should do their turn back to the line. But in the final with only 3 boats, you've got to be really sure on your time and distance and really know what pressure you're sailing into or out of to make sure that you're going to hit the line with speed. Crazy
different tactics here, though. Artemis are in the box really, really early here. They're so far away from the other 2 boats. Bit of a special from Outteridge, maybe.
Yeah, it's amazing how often it works out, being that boat that's split away from the other 2. You see 2 in a quite a tight battle, fighting it out, and 1 just being able to come in fast. And the way the boundaries set up around the adrenaline lounge there, you get a lot more space if you go back and up like the Swedes have. So you'll be expecting to see them wind it up for sure.
And we are 1 minute away from the start of the final here at the ENEL Rio Sail Grand Prix, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship. A picture-perfect day with an iconic setting. Sugarloaf Mountain in the background, and the 3 best teams on the weekend. The Bons Flying Roos, Los Cayos of Spain, and Artemis set to do battle.
41 seconds to go, and we can see Artemis are already winding it up at the top end there, all off to the right-hand side of our screen. They have all got a big run-up, but they're going to be needing to get the acceleration right. I think Australia could almost be late already. They're going to need a perfect manoeuvre and a quick up on the foils. Artemis look like they will be inside. Middle of the screen's the line. Middle of the start line is the favoured place to be. Look how gusty it is under Sugarloaf as Slingsby starts to line it up. He's looking fast on board the Bons Flying Roos. The Rolex pole predictor sits on board that Australian boat. Spain have space. Outteridge and Slingsby are fighting. The line's going to go white when we're ready to race. Oh, he lines it up. How's your timing, Nathan Outteridge? Wobble on board the Spanish boat at the top of the line. Artemis got slow, and it's the Bons Flying Roos who will lead at Mach 1.
And here comes Spain on the outside. They've got speed, almost dead even across the line as they approach mark number 1. It's NASCAR on water here in Brazil.
Yeah, could be crucial. The Bons Flying Roos catch the windward hull if Artemis can overlap. No, they're not. He's bailing out there. Outteridge doesn't think he can dive inside. The Bons Flying Roos, they're going to get first pick at this race course.
Yeah, definitely got off the line well, but it feels like there's going to be a lot in this race, doesn't it? One thing's for sure, there'll be plenty of opportunities. So we'll just have to, I'm sure Spain will just be keeping it tight and keeping it back.
Yeah, on the day that is the final round of the Masters, I can't help but think that there is a lot of golf left in this hole in terms of this race course. It's really, really tricky out there.
Okay, reloading here.
So first to maneuver, the Bons Flying Roos and Artemis. They go 1 and 2. Keep your eye on Los Cayos, Spain. They currently sit in 3rd place, opting to carry this one a little farther out. As we look at the conditions, Stevie, you see pressure all across this course, but as we've seen in the prior 3 races, there are holes out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity. I think we'll hear from Tom Slingsby what's the distance he's hoping to find at the bottom of the course. I think a move back to the right turn does put you in good wind. The left-hand side of our screen has historically been the place to go. Slingsby says there's good pressure left.
It's a Raven. Yep.
Tricky decision right now. You've got a pick of it.
Left turn. Copy.
Left turn. I think if you're not certain of anything, he's going to sail into that big gust of wind. You don't do another manoeuvre, so you guarantee not losing a certain amount of meterage.
Really good gust
Keep
here.
it simple. It's definitely the way to play. You know, if you think everything's even, you think you're going to good pressure, you might as well keep going straight. But yeah,
look at this.
Banish have taken on the other side.
They're up on the inside of us.
So it's the Australians and Artemis 1 and 2, and Diego Motin's going to roll the dice here. Pete, you like this call?
Well, I think he takes a bit of a loss initially to do it. So, yeah, it'll have to be interesting to see how much it pays out. But yeah, traditionally today, that left-hand side on the upwind's really been gaining a lot. So I think he has to do something, right?
It's worth a roll of the dice, I think, for me here, really. And like you say, on average, it's been good that way. I think the interesting thing will be, can the boats that have headed off on that side, Australia are up and foiling, so they've stayed in breeze. Artemis are in very good breeze on that right-hand side of our course there. Look at this. Sweden, they've got the most wind on the racetrack right now, so potentially the wind coming the other side of Sugarloaf here, Han.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the angle difference between the two boats. One's Flying Rouge just coming up and turning to the right a little bit there, but I think the Spanish may have made a little bit of a gain, probably not enough to change the... Oh, I don't know, actually. They're looking like they're going bow forwards there just a little bit as they approach that left-hand boundary.
Yeah, it looks so patchy out there. I don't know if we've got Lisa at the moment, but the breeze looks like it's potentially started to come from the right-hand side of Sugarloaf. So we're going to just see now a gain for Artemis. The Wind Whisperer, he's reading it right at the moment.
So there's the condition right now. There's not much more of a more beautiful setting than this here. The 4th event of the SailGP Season 6, the ENEL Rio Sail Grand Prix, and it is all on here in the event final. It is Artemis, it is Australia, and it is Spain as we check in down on the water. Lisa Darman, and where's the favorable side? Where do you find the pressure?
Oh, the pressure is so high here. As you said, there are these little right opportunities coming. We're sitting on the right-hand turn at the moment. There's a big gust, but you know, if you're 50 metres away from another boat, you could be in completely different pressure. So this race is not going to be over till it's over. It is really challenging out here.
It still comes down to the basics as well. Artemis, they had a little bit of a wobble. They almost tried to force the foil. They fell off the foils. There you go. Slingsby didn't make that mistake. What a moment, and it was just come down to handling. Have the Bonds Flying Rouge got the ability to stay on the foils here?
Right now, the Bonds Flying Rouge put themselves in first position. Looks like Nathan Outridge is going to opt to the other side.
100%. Looks good as well, though, Todd, doesn't it? It's good breeze for Bonds Flying Rouge, but the Los Gallos are foiling here, so Artemis are going to potentially get bounced around a bit. Right of way with Los Gallos. Spain will go back that way. They've got to keep rolling the dice. Artemis here, they haven't got the right of way. Diego did the commentary for us. For me, that's an absolute no-brainer foul there. The Artemis crew
This
will
is the umpires.
Yeah.
Penalty Sweden, not giving Mark room, go behind Spain.
Yeah, shot of the Emirates umpire studio there. Craig Mitchell, the chief umpire, doling out the penalty to Artemis. And that's going to about do them in. And that's great news, Pete, I got to think, for the Bonds Flying Rouge and Tom Slingsby.
Yeah, I think that definitely gives the Bonds Flying Rouge and Tom and the rest of the crew a good little buffer there, doesn't it? By the time Sweden has to get behind Spain. So, no, it's starting to look like a reasonably easy race for them from here. Touch wood.
First time of the weekend that Tom Slingsby and Craig Mitchell have agreed?
Could be.
Well, it doesn't make up for not winning their home event in Sydney, Australia a few weeks ago where they did not even make the final. They finished in 5th, but this would be a huge win for them. Remember, the Bonds Flying Rouge finished on top at event number 2 back in Auckland. That seems a long time ago, but Tom Slingsby getting that team possibly back to their winning ways if they can bring this home.
Is there a case that you can be too far ahead in this condition?
Happy to roll? I don't think so. I don't think so. Well, I mean, you know, sometimes you say that where you get like really big lulls and you can get too big of splits, but you know, essentially the course is so short, you're having to go back and forth through the same bit of water, so you can't really generate that much leverage. So, I mean, the further ahead, the easier it's going to be, I think, for me.
We've got a little high mode across here, don't we? Yep. Happy to roll it up. And they all come with us.
There you go, Neil. So I think right now, yeah, it looks like the Spanish have agreed with Peter Byrne there, and they've said, let's just make sure we take a second. Think about the whole season. You've got to remember we're racing to Abu Dhabi, aren't we, to that grand final. Every point counts all the way there. So mature sailing, I'd say, from Botín. We heard Ian Jensen, wing trimmer on board Australia. This could be his first win on board that Australian boat. It'll be a massive moment. He's so proud to be back sailing for his home nation. If he can get a win here, I know for Gooby it's going to mean a lot.
Leg 5 of 7, so it's up to the top of the course. They'll turn on the gate, come back down, and then it'll be a quick left-hander to the finish line in front of the crowds there in the beautiful setting that we've got here at the ENEL Rio Sail Grand Prix.
Looks super light with there at the moment, doesn't it? Really just struggling to keep it up on the foil. got right down to 30 kph through that lull, so it's plenty to play for still, to be honest.
For the breeze and the left.
Looks like they're going to sort of make it simple. They're going to head towards that top left-hand corner of our screen. I got a feeling they were trying to sort of sail an angle close to the gate to keep themselves well lined up then with the boats behind. But yeah, it's definitely, there's opportunity out here, but I think the battle potentially now is for second place. It's going to need a big mistake by the Australians for it to go wrong from here.
That's angle.
And that's pretty perfect.
I tell you what, whatever the pep talk was that Tom Slingsby gave last night, and how many cats they got on board, they are doing something right, because they've got 3 wins in a row, looking to make it 4, Stevie, and winning the most important race of the 8. Yeah, I mean, at the moment it's looking like a perfect scorecard, isn't it? I mean, who would think it's possible to win 4 races on a day like this? I mean, quite incredible, really. But I say, I don't believe he's done anything magic. They've just done the basics really, really well, and that's really, really hard to do on a day like today.
What a beautiful place to sail, eh? Just taking a little look in around the scenery under the Sugarloaf. Pretty fond memories for a lot of these yachties here in this part of water.
Softer. Hold that angle.
So there it is. Australia makes their way around the gate. They keep it clean. Here comes Spain sitting in second.
Here we go. Pressure now. Straight into a jibe out of this.
Sounds pretty calm. They got wind back again. Oh, panic over for the Bonds Flying Roos.
Right there, rolling down. Your wing. Go hard, Sammy.
Not celebrating just yet on board the Bonds Flying Roos.
No, and it's a short leg though. Right-hand side of there's the mark they're going to, the right-hand side of our screen. So Slingsby's gone pretty nice and wide here, made it fairly safe. Spain and Artemis, they follow. And it's all about getting on the foils for that race for second. But Tom Slingsby and his cat are going to get it done here in Rio.
So 4 races in the 2026 season and 2 victories will go the way of the Bonds Flying Roos. Their new owners, Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, and they are just about 200 meters away from closing the deal. What a super Sunday for the Bonds Flying Roos, as they are absolutely perfect. They win races 5, 6, and 7, and when it counts most, they deliver in the event final. The Emirates winning moment goes the way of the Australians. The Bonds Flying Roos reign supreme in Rio.
Well done, guys.
Huge moment there. Could be a Slingsby Samba in Rio tonight, Todd.
Diego Botín smartly will hold on to second place, as that penalty really was the difference. And Los Gallos, fresh off that new purchase of their team, they finished second, delivering 9 championship points to their account. And Artemis gets into the final, the newest team in SailGP with Nathan Anders. They finish in 3rd.
Yeah, imagine that, Todd. I mean, 4th event and they've already got to a final.
What a showing and what a performance here at the ENEL Rio Sail Grand Prix in Guanabara Bay.
Sailed well today.
I love penalty points way better too.
Well, what an event, as the Bonds Flying Roos can now celebrate their performance. And again, they did not win a race on Saturday, but they pull it off and win everything in sight on Super Sunday when it counts most. As we go back at the highlights, Hannah, it doesn't get much better than that. That is perfection to a T.
Yeah, and it looked like it was going to be quite a different approach for some of the teams towards the start, with Bonds Flying Roos coming from a little bit further back in the box. And it was Bonds Flying Roos who took it was Artemis who took the best time start, and showing really how tricky those conditions were, with the Bonds Flying Roos taking speed. Artemis getting really close to trying to get on that inside line and own that mark for Mark 1, but the Bonds Flying Roos just shutting that down, Artemis bailing out, choosing to follow them behind. From there, the Bonds Flying Roos had a bit of a debate about which mark to take at the bottom gate, but they took the easy option, kept it safe, kept it simple, put some pressure on Artemis, who ultimately, when it came to it at the top mark, picked up a penalty against the Spanish, which really was the end of the race there.
Yeah, and it's just crucial, wasn't it? They just fell off the foils in that one manoeuvre, Artemis. They'd positioned themselves really well, but often the devil's in the detail when it's as tricky as this. And, you know, the Australian team did a great job, and they've just been perfect all day. Totally well-deserved. A lot of things for the other teams to look into, I'd say.
And we can now dole out some of the awards on this race. And what a performance again, as we give the flowers to the winning team. The Emirates winning moment going the way of the Bonds Flying Roos. But the Emirates fly time went the way of the Spaniards, Stevie. 96.7% for Diego Botín and company.
So had a great day out there, the Spanish. They'll be very happy coming away with a second. They've made finals in every event they've done so far this season.
So it's 10 points for winning the event as we take a look at the final standings. The Bons Flying Roos get that 10. Los Gallos finish in second and Artemis finish in third with the US SailGP team just finishing on the outside in fourth. The final results are in, and it is again confirming the Bons Flying Roos get the win with Los Gallos, Artemis, and the US SailGP team, your top 4. As we take a look at the overall season standings now, you add that 10 on, and it's the Bons Flying Roos now with a 7-point lead over Emirates GBR, the champions of last year. US SailGP team still in the top 3. And remember, this all comes down to November in the Middle East, where we will determine an overall champion as we now take a look at our precision athletes of the weekend.
And it was a really close fought thing for the US SailGP team, almost making that final. Taylor Canfield really showing how strong he is in the starts, taking that driver position. Anna Buff, the Germans have had a really good, strong set of results this weekend, narrowly missing out on the final as well. But the 2 final positions taken by the team that took the win over this weekend, Ian Jensen taking his first win for the Australian team, and Jason Waterhouse in some really tricky flight controlling conditions. Marginal foiling a lot of this weekend, so really impressive from the Australian team.
Yeah, I mean, both Jensen and Waterhouse got medals here in Rio, didn't they? So they've transformed their silvers they got in 2016 to an event win, a gold medal here now. We've got the DP World fastest speed. Well, Los Gallos, so often they sail that boat fast and hard round the course. So 75.61 kilometers an hour, DP World fastest speed of the day.
So congratulations to all the teams this weekend in the top 3, the Bons Flying Roos, Los Gallos, and Artemis, who battle it out, where once again Australia gets the win. Well, coming up next on Season 6 SailGP calendar, it's a return visit to one of the most iconic racing venues in sailing, May 9th and 10th. It's the Apex Group Bermuda Sail Grand Prix. The league will set sail for the beautiful waters of Bermuda and the legendary Great Sound. SailGP makes its spectacular return to Bermuda.
They got 2
Oh, no! Bringing supercharged racing back to the island's iconic turquoise waters.
Oh, it's going to be a protest there. That's tight.
Set against a breathtaking backdrop, this is a weekend of thrilling sport and unforgettable entertainment you don't want to miss. So we will see you in Bermuda, the next event, as the winning team makes their way to shore for the prize giving. And there are the Bons Flying Roos as they are now back on dock. Lisa Darmanen's with them, so we hope we'll get a chat with them. But this is the moment, Pete, you work all weekend for.
Yeah, I mean, they've really earned it this weekend, haven't they? Got the penalty points in the first race, but put together the perfect day apart from that to take that win in their last race. And I think Stevie's been talking about it. You know, they definitely managed to hold that form they found in the first 3 through that final one. So, awesome effort.
Well, I think, you know, Pete might have been able to give them some advice on where to go, but I think if they can get themselves tickets to the Vela Beach Club, there could be a good night ahead for that Australian team, because they've deserved it. They've sailed really well, and I know Slingsby was hurting after the event in Sydney, so this champagne moment that's coming up real soon is going to go well for them.
So the champions make their way onto the stage. It'll be the prize giving, the trophy, the bubbly, and then we'll hopefully get a chance to chat with them. Francisco Moliterni, the president and general manager of ENEL Rio, will do the honors. As Pete Burling and his crew now, Tom Slingsby and his crew now make it on there. Sorry, Pete, I wish you were there, but you're here with us.
At some stage.
Way to rub it in, Todd. Way to rub it in.
He'll be back. Tom Slingsby and the Australians, the green and gold, now make their way on the stage. Anna, your final thoughts of what we saw this weekend?
Well, I think a lot of the teams made it look quite easy to sail the boats, but the reality is so different. So really, well, hats off to all the sailors this weekend.
Stevie, your final thoughts as well.
Oh, well, I just think it shows that experience out there on the waters really comes down to it, you know, and Australia, absolutely fantastic, well-deserved winners.
And you, Pete?
Yeah, well, it's surprised how some teams managed to really put their best foot forward, like you saw the Aussies with that. But then the British, for me, were the surprise of the weekend. You know, they're normally so strong in these conditions, shifty, tricky. Hannah, Dylan doing such an amazing job, but yeah, to come fully last.
We'll say goodbye for Rio from now. We'll see you in Bermuda next month. In the shadow of Sugarloaf Mountain today, 12 nations will take to these waters to decide who is the best team.
Oh, the Aussies are coming through so hot. Oh, bit of a wobble there. Oh, wow, aggressive from Spain.
Black flag, you are disqualified.
It's the Bonds Flying Roos will lead at Mark 1.
The Bonds Flying Roos reign supreme in Rio. Beautiful shot of Sugarloaf Mountain as the ENEL Rio Sail Grand Prix has come to a conclusion. It took us a year to get here, but it is well worth the wait as the Australians, the Bonds Flying Roos, make their way to the stand to collect their trophy. What a performance. Alongside Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, Lisa Darmanin, and Pete Burling, I'm Todd Harris. Glad to have you with us. And this is the moment, as the trophy will now be presented by Francesco Moliterni, the president and general manager of ENEL Rio.
I mean, look at the smile on Ian Jensen's face. I think this means an awful lot to him.
And Pete, you've been here before. If you're smart and you're presenting this trophy, you present the trophy and then you get out of there, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can see Tommy's been there a few times. He's got the sunglasses on. And the champagne definitely hurts a lot in the eyes, tell you that much.
Yeah, well worth it though. After 7 races and then an event final, the Australians, certainly Stevie, were the cream of the crop, winning every race on Super Sunday.
Yeah, and I mean, they've had a great start to the year. They're obviously gutted at their home event in Sydney, but that could be just the motivation they need to sort of, you know, sharpen them up and get them going. And as I say, Ian Jensen there stood next to Tom Slingsby, his first event back in the green and gold, probably since Rio, actually, when he won the Olympic silver medal. It might be the first time he's actually represented his home country, and you know, you just know what that means. Here we go, champagne time.
You look relatively experienced.
Yeah, there's a fair level of experience with that, that's for sure there. Kinley Fowler on the right-hand side of the screen there, one of the big grinders, keeping himself well in the clear. It looks like he's made sure he's got a bit of champagne left at the end too.
Well, I think by all accounts, Stevie, it was worth the wait. Brazil certainly delivered, especially on Sunday with the conditions and the race that we saw.
Yeah, I think we all knew this racetrack was going to offer a lot of, you know, very dynamic racing and a lot of variability out there. And yeah, with good breeze, it just shows you how varied the skill set is and how you've got to be able to adapt and change through the gears. And that's where, you know, people like Pete Burling, people like Tom Slingsby can get it done.
Yeah, it was an awesome showcase for the sport, wasn't it? Such a beautiful backdrop around the I suppose, the iconic landmarks of Rio, and I'm sure everyone's looking forward to getting back in the years to come and making this really a staple stop on the SailGP calendar.
All right, let's go down to the stage. Lisa Darmanin with Jason Waterhouse.
I'm with Jason Waterhouse. Jace, what does it feel to win here? You guys had a magnificent day and then pulled off that final.
Yeah, it was amazing out there, honestly. The slingers and the guys sailed the boat so well, and Tash had her head out the whole time in such a tricky venue. I'm so proud of them, and yeah, what a day. Stoked.
Rio is iconic. What is it like to sail an F50 in this bay?
So cool to come to Rio. I mean, love this place, the energy, the atmosphere. You can't really beat it, to be honest. And yeah, looking forward to coming back and racing here again. It was unbelievable.
Thanks so much, Jace.
Stevie, I think Lisa didn't show it there because she's not biased, but she was pretty happy.
Well, Todd, what hasn't been said there is Lisa sailed with Jason in Rio. Lisa, she won a silver medal.
Correct.
So, I wonder if he had the sunglasses on because he was welling up a little bit, remembering the glory days they had back there. So, yeah, huge moment for Lisa. She loves Rio, of course. A lot of happy memories, and for Jason as well. But I think that Australian team, they look pretty good at the moment. Can't forget Emirates GBR have been great, but as Pete said, they've been the big surprise of the weekend for me. The fact that they were right out the back. I'd love to know what's gone on board that boat.
Well, the celebration continues on here in Guanabara Bay as the fans make their way down for some photos, and we make our way back down with Lisa Darmanin.
Well, Tom's just checking out his green and gold wheel. He didn't get an Aussie one, but it's close enough, Tom.
Yeah, no, we're just saying it's very similar. So the fields are very similar right now, and we're just so stoked. Our team is amazing, and we showed it today.
It was so tough out there. What was the hardest part about, I mean, you made it look easy out in front every time, but what was the hardest part?
It looks like it was easy, but I can guarantee you it wasn't. As a sailor, racing under a mountain like that is very, very tough. But, I mean, we've just got such a good team and we gel so well, especially when the conditions are hard. And, it all came together today, which is such a sort of satisfying feeling.
It was a bit different, obviously, with only 5 people on board, but so much power, Tash. Well, how hard was it to sail, undercooked but overpowered?
Yeah, I mean, that was probably one of the hardest things about today is sailing in conditions like that. But it felt like we needed everyone, and I think Sammy did an amazing job on the handles, and it was a bit easier for us out in front, I think, but awesome day together.
What was it like when, you were stuck at that top gate, there was no wind, and you have to will yourself to get on the foil?
Yeah, I mean, that top gate really tested our patience, and it's something we've been working on the last few events, and I think we've come out, I guess we're all smiling now, and hopefully we can take some learnings and keep working on what we've been doing.
Well, Tom, just to finish off, it's a long season, but how important are these wins just to keep you pushing, motivated and excited for the season ahead?
Yeah, these wins are huge. I mean, they just motivate the team, they motivate everyone around us, and I mean, these are the moments you compete, right? Like, we don't compete to come second, and I say in our team, like, the day I'm happy coming second is the day I'm done, and I'm always hard on us, but it all feels like it's rewarding when we have these days. So, it's good. This motivates us for the future, and hopefully we can get on a roll now.
Well, the broadcasters just asked me to, your owners, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, gave you a bit of stick for being a redhead and gave you a new nickname. How are you feeling about that, proving them wrong today?
Yeah, I might be a ginger crumpet, you know what, but if Ginger Crumpet can sail like that today, I'll take it, yeah.
And Tash, how's the search for the mascot going?
I guess we're still working on that, and thanks for sending all the suggestions in. I don't know.
All right, well, we'll wait to see the team cat, but thank you guys so much. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Cat or no cat, the best team out on the water, the Bonds Flying Roos. They win their second event in the 2026 season, of course, as they won in Auckland, event number 2. So that will wrap things up. Once again, congratulations to Tom Slingsby and Australia. The Bonds Flying Roos get the victory at the ENEL Rio Sail Grand Prix, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship. For Stevie Morrison, Hannah Diamond, Lisa Darmanin, and our newest member of the crew, Pistol Pete, joining us. Thanks so much, Pete. We appreciate you being here, and we'd like to see you back out on the water.
Thanks for having me.
Pete Burling joined us as well. So that'll do things. We'll see you in the next event coming up at the Apex Group Bermuda Sail Grand Prix, May 9th and 10th, as SailGP returns to the Great Sound. Once again, it's Australia that wins the ENEL Rio Sail Grand Prix. For our entire crew, I'm Todd Harris, saying so long from beautiful Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. We'll see you next month in Bermuda.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best, yes. Powered by nature, raw passion, all action. When it takes, racing on water, racing with impact. Give it all, everything, give it all, everything. We are racing. When it takes, we are SailGP.